when you really listen and pay attention to Langley's concerns, they may sound like true concern for Africa, but they're part of a much larger strategic narrative and scheme. When he speaks about corruption, slow economic development, and military coups in Africa, it's not an objective assessment. It's a political theater. It's all fakeness. I'd be quite embarrassed, honestly. Instead of an applause, they brand Traoré, right? Corrupt. Traoré has made it clear that he will die for his nation. It's time to consider PayAngel. Use our code KASA, a platform designed by Africans tailored specifically to our unique needs. Gen Z, we need services that get us, and PayAngel does. PayAngel understands our needs, offering the best exchange rates and super fast transactions. Whether you're sending money to family or paying for business, it's all about convenience and trust. Plus, with PayAngel's easy-to-use app, you get more for your money and it's always safe. To experience the best service and value, use our code KASA. When downloading and transferring, remember, use our code KASA now. PayAngel, global payments, local simplicity. Okay, Diaspora, so this is officially our season finale. And I have a special surprise for all the viewers when we're done going into today's topics. We thank Jesus, all glory to the Most High. It's truly been an amazing journey with you all this season, and I'm looking forward to more real talk and memories incoming for the next season. I am sending love and blessings to everyone who has supported and tuned into this show this season, and for all the new viewers and subscribers, welcome to the Kasa family of real ones, the real trailblazers, the real voices of Africa and the diaspora. You've joined an amazing community, so God bless you. All right, so I really need to finish up before we end the season, and I'm off to Africa, but I won't tell you guys exactly which country I'm going to. You guys are gonna have to guess that one. But yeah, after this season, I'm off to Africa, and then you guys won't see me again till next fall. But I will continue to have more updates on future episodes as well. So look out for that, and also just updates on what we're doing and what we're getting into for next season. But Diaspora, there's a lot unfolding across Africa right now, and the voices of the people, specifically Gen Z, both on the continent and in the diaspora, are growing louder. All eyes are on Africa, but specifically Burkina Faso and their honorable leader, Ibrahim Traoré. But this time around, not all eyes are on just him alone. The wolves in sheep clothing have also revealed themselves, which has caused a major uproar among Africans. What does this mean? I'll break this all down on today's show. More Kasa coming up on today's show with no bias, no lies, real vim, real Kasa. So first, as we all know, Military General Ibrahim Traoré has made great strides and has accomplished so much, right, within these past 2 years of taking control over Burkina Faso. Within this time, being able to prioritize national sovereignty, removing French troops, removing French as the official language of their nation, strengthening alliances among other Sahel countries, and using gold reserves to pay off the country's debt and building wealth with these resources. Basically doing more good for an African nation within 2 years than some or most have done in decades or in 2 terms. See, we as Africans know that Captain Traoré has done and understand the significance of it. We know what he has done. However, the West thinks otherwise. Now, stay with me. I truly take pride in breaking this down for viewers who truly don't understand or get all this geopolitical conflict. So, in April, General Michael Langley made major headlines. Who is the 6th commander of AFRICOM, is one of 7 joint geographic combatant commands, overseeing all U.S. military operations and strategic interests across the African continent. In other words, an operation used to keep Africa under Western control in order to exploit us of all our resources for their economic gain. Right? People often overlook the fact that AFRICOM isn't an African creation. African countries didn't ask for it. In fact, most African nations rejected AFRICOM's headquarters being on the continent, which is why it ended up in Stuttgart, Germany, at Kelly Barracks. That alone should tell you something. If this was truly about Africa, why not have it in Africa and under our leadership, our ground rules? But it's because they wanted to still maintain and control the narrative here. So General Langley has taken the stage, being in the limelight for his remarks over African affairs, specifically in Burkina Faso. He made these comments before the U.S. Senate on April 3rd. He blatantly criticized African countries for increase in corruption, political instability, and a rise in military coups, right? So now I see or get what he's saying in terms of increased corruption or instability in certain African countries. But that is absolutely none of his or the U.S. government's business. During his meeting with the U.S. Senate, Langley says, quote, West Africa has a complex mix of challenges. The region has recently experienced a wave of military coups, with countries like Burkina Faso, Guinea, Mali, and Niger facing upheaval as military officers ousted elected governments. These disruptions stem from entrenched corruption, slow economic development, weak democratic institutions, and limited strategic patience, he commented.
The ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that in order to the benefit of the strongman leader, and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of those examples across. Even in Sudan, what's going on with the rapid support forces.
General Langley's remarks to the U.S. Senate has caused a lot of outrage on the internet and in Africa as a whole. His remarks sparked reactions with leaders and parties denying the allegations by Langley. So Burkinabe's government condemned Langley's remarks, terming them regrettable. According to Business Insider Africa, South Africa's opposition party, the Economic Freedom Fighters, EFF, also weighed in. In a statement, the EFF wasted no time and condemned what they called continued interference in African nations' affairs by the West, which is absolutely true. Julius Malema of South Africa stepped in and rightfully accused the West of attempting to control our resources, which I believe is right. The EFF said, quote, "We condemn the West's continued interference in African nations' affairs and their attempts to control our resources. The EFF supports Captain Traoré's efforts to reclaim Burkina Faso's gold for the benefit of its people and to resist neo-colonial pressure. South Africa's EFF rejects U.S. claims on Burkina Faso's gold, and when you really listen and pay attention to Langley's concerns, they may sound like true concern for Africa, but they're part of a much larger strategic narrative and scheme. All this is designed, right? It's perfectly designed to justify continued American presence and oppression, right? And influence under the guise of security and democracy. When he speaks about corruption, slow economic development, and military coups in Africa, it's not an objective assessment. It's a political theater. It's all fakeness. Do you think like they really care? Do you think the U.S. really cares about truly, there's military, no. This can continue to go on for centuries, and they won't care as long as they're getting what they want, the resources they want. Who cares what happens in Africa, right? Let's put the leaders we want into office and manipulate the masses so they can stay poor and we become richer. Simple. Now, what was interesting was during General Langley's presentation, the U.S. Senate criticized President Traoré, accusing him of diverting his country's gold for personal gain. That was like the big headline. That was the big thing that was all over Twitter. And interest at the expense of citizens in Burkina Faso.
Okay, well, you can't imagine how frustrating it seems to me that this mineral-rich continent has not been able to move to a utilization of the resources to benefit the people there. After all this time, it's a puzzle that we haven't unwound up.
Can you believe the nonsense being spewed among the U.S. Senate? I mean, I'd be quite embarrassed, honestly. A man who has paid off $4.7 billion in national debt through gold mining revenues to liberate his people from such neocolonialism, which has been, in fact, checked, by the way, like Google it, Bing it, whatever. He's using it for personal gain? Instead of an applause, they brand Traoré, right? Corrupt. This is a narrative warfare. By putting up the finest or most believable narrative or propaganda, you may just have the upper hand. By framing Traoré as corrupt and dangerous, they're building the case to remove him. Sound familiar? That's the same pattern we've seen throughout African history. Demonize independent African leaders, destabilize their governments, and replace them with puppets who serve Western interests. They did it to Patrice Lumumba in Congo. They did it to Thomas Sankara, ironically in the same country, Burkina Faso. And they did it to Africa's first Kwame Nkrumah in Ghana. And more recently, they did it to Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. All because these men dared to dream of a self-reliant Africa, free from colonial and neo-colonial grip. Traoré has made it clear that he will die for his nation. However, he won't die. He won't die. He's aligning Burkina Faso with other Sahelian states to create a new sovereign bloc that terrifies the US and its allies, because if one African country successfully rejects Western domination, others will follow. The accusations being made against him are not about truth, they're about power. They want to control the gold. They want to control the cobalt, not protect the people. So when the US Senate tries to paint Traoré as a villain, what they're really doing is sending a message to every African leader. If you stop working with us, we'll come for you. But Africa's waking up. This generation is fierce. No offense, but it was easy for our parents to be sold and accept the neocolonialism mindset, but not Gen Z, not millennials. The people are no longer buying these narratives and propaganda. And it is our duty through platforms like the Real Kasa Show to expose this for what it is, a modern day recolonization effort dressed in the language of democracy, accountability, and human rights. No. It's all Western buffoonery. I always say that, Western buffoonery. As I always go into, like, it's truly embarrassing. But I truly believe that Africa is officially waking up, and we're at a pivotal moment, but we must be smart. We must be vigilant. Diaspora, it's our season finale. Glory to the Most High. As we wrap up this first and powerful season of the Real Kasa Show, I wanted to take a moment to do something really special. This show has been a movement of raw truth, real voices, and bold conversations that are shifting the culture. But none of that could have happened without the amazing teamwork working behind the scenes week after week to bring this show to life, or from the beginning of the season. So for the first time ever on camera, I'm joined at the table by the incredible Kasa Crew, the minds, the vibes, and the hands behind all the Real Kasa action. This is your official season finale crew segment, a chance to meet the people, or some of the people, who helped shape the vision, build the sound, and manage the madness behind the scenes. Let's get into it. No bias, no lies, real teamwork, Real Kasa. Diaspora, so I am here officially with some of the team crew members behind the scenes of the Real Kasa Show Season 1. I've been blessed with such an amazing team and such a wonderful team that truly puts so much effort week by week and also throughout the beginning of the season to the end to make this first season possible. So I am seated here with
Roman Ricardo.
Michael and Ponce.
Yes, so Roman Ricardo being our theme song creator and soundtrack producer, and Michael Aponza being our in-studio production assistant. So I'm gonna just, have conversation with you guys, and you guys can tell the viewers just what you guys went through in making this season 1 possible, and just the journey overall. So I'll start with you, Roman. How are we feeling though? How are we feeling?
Feeling good. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, so you brought the sound and you brought the soul to the brand with the music, with the soundtrack. And how did you approach capturing the energy and the message of the Real Kasa Show in just a few seconds of sound?
So the main thing we were going for was really just trying to create something impactful, something that felt important, something that felt big.
Yeah.
So a main thing we really tried to do was keep it like symphonic kind of energy, you know, really making it feel like something big was about to happen. It's like, oh, what's gonna happen next?
Yeah. Wow. So, Roman, you and I, like, we worked on it. I remember when we worked on it in your room. Tell the viewers what that process was like creatively and how we were able to come up with something so impactful that hits so hard. It really does. It hits incredibly hard.
So I think the main thing we did is we started off just playing with a bunch of different sounds. And again, as I said earlier, we had the idea of really trying to make, you know, something that felt important, you know, capture the kind of energy of the topics talking in the show. Played through a bunch of sounds, and eventually we got onto the string kind of sounds. Played a little dun 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 dun.
I do remember like the main thing that I loved with the soundtrack was the horns.
Yes.
The trumpets. I remember I emphasized on the trumpets, and that had a very like spiritual meaning to me. You know what I mean? And I wanted to incorporate that. I wanted that to blast, you know what I mean? For people to hear that. But yeah. Yeah, and then the bass too.
Yes, big heavy bass.
Big heavy bass.
Drums.
Yeah, so what's one piece of sound advice, no pun intended, right? You'd give someone trying to build a brand with a strong sound identity, right? Like someone who's really trying to make a soundtrack. What's some advice you would give them?
Well, first off, just trusting your intuition, trusting your creativity, you know. I think deep down we all know what we kind of resonate with, what sounds cool. So a lot of times you can make something really cool and then edit it down to garbage. So I'd say just really trust your instincts, you know, really try to capture your ideas and energy into what you're trying to create. Just trust your creativity.
Are you looking to make more like soundtracks for more shows?
I actually have a couple things in the works. One of my friends, I don't know if I can talk about it yet, but I'm doing the soundtrack for a short film.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, stay tuned. At Roman Ricardo on Instagram if you want to come check me out.
Yep. Fun fact, guys. Roman is actually, I believe this show was actually his first ever soundtrack that he created for a production. So, I mean, kudos to the Real Kasa Show, right? But yeah, all right. So we're on to our in-production studio assistant, you know, helped shape the visual direction and format of this second half of the season. Funny thing, actually, well, Michael will go into it. I don't want to say too much, but Michael jumped on. He jumped on mid-season and instantly shifted things. Like he definitely shifted the trajectory of the show. And what made you say like, yo, like, let's cut the episodes. Let's make it 10 minutes. Let's stop the 30 minutes.
I think the reason being is like in today's like world, like people watch shows, but especially that like we're talking about a different like topic like Africa, like I feel like people get bored easily.
Yeah.
So I feel like if you can hit like the hard points in a short amount of time, it can really like attract the viewer's eye and be like, oh wow, like this is like something that's going on. I didn't even know. Like most people think like Africa, like, they're not like too worried, like or they're not like too focused on it. But I think like Real Kasa like really hits on like the big issues that are going on in Africa and letting people know, not just like the African community, but everyone else around the world, letting people know like this is what's going on. So I think like cutting it down to 10 minutes really allows the story to pop and also like attract more viewers. Because, you know, nowadays like people don't want to watch something for too long. You know, they might forget about the issue.
Yeah.
They might not like care as much. But if you bring it down to a short amount of time, it can really like, the audience can be like, oh wow, like this is something.
This is something nice.
Yeah.
So more like straight to the point, direct.
Yeah.
Right.
Because, you know, like even as a film major too, like when I was doing TV production, we always emphasize on cutting down, like no matter what, cutting down, just get straight to the point, but still like have the, you know, the base covered and everything.
Covered. Yeah. Wow. So tips for all content creators looking to do, YouTube or start their own show as well. But yeah, Michael, I fought with him. By the way, like we wrestled back and forth about why should it be 30, because I was doing the 30 minutes, but then I was like, you know what? I do want to gain more attention in terms of just like my message being heard, right? So if I was able to get that out quicker and within that time frame, I knew that people would pick that up and it would have more of that impact. And that's exactly what happened with this channel, with this Real Kasa community.
Yeah,
a lot more people joined that community. So kudos to you, Michael, for letting me know about that and really encouraging me to do that. But you really brought that viewer-focused lens to the show. So how do you think that changed the way we connect with our audience?
Even going back to the cutting down to 10 minutes, I feel like bringing it down. Obviously we pulled more views in, as we know, as you saw. But
as we've seen.
Yeah. I think I feel like it's like bring the viewers together to really focus on issues in Africa, not just Africa, but in the States or wherever around the world.
Yeah.
I think it brings the viewers' attention to what's really going on around the world too. And I think that it's very important to know what's going on on a daily basis. Not many people know what's going on here, what's going on there, especially Africa. Because people bring Africa down, but Africa has a lot going on right now. So I think it's pretty important to emphasize on what's going on, issues in Africa and other stuff too.
Wow. No, that was a great point though. That was a great point, emphasizing on things going on in Africa, but within that efficient timing, like you mentioned. But if you could you've seen the growth, right, of the show in real time since you joined. Yeah. What do you think made the show work this season? What was that one thing that you feel was it made the show just
I mean, I'm gonna say bringing it down. I think bringing it down to 10 minutes,
10 minutes, yeah.
Even I was shocked. I was just,
it did
I'm not gonna lie, I was chatting, but it worked out. So
he wasn't chatting. He knew exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah.
He surely knew what he was talking about. And you're a smart guy, and I know that you're gonna go really far. And as well, you too, Roman. You have so much talent, and you just have a keen ear, right, for what sounds really good, what will also grab the viewers' attention. And people literally, actually, were asking me. I had subscribers ask in the comments, can we use this soundtrack because it's fire, it's really good. So definitely something we need to talk more about as well. Maybe changes, I don't know, I'm not gonna say too much, but yeah. So if I wanted to go back to Michael, if you could direct a Kasa Show spinoff, like a Real Kasa Show spinoff, what would it be called and what would it focus on?
Oh, this is a tough one. I feel like coming up with a name for a show is always hard because we need to find the base.
I can always change.
Yeah, I feel like where Real Kasa's at right now, I think is pretty good. So I'll say maybe how can I put it together?
What concept would it be, kind of? What concept would it go around? Yeah.
So I think, obviously Real Kasa is based around the African community. So I'll say still stay in that realm, but still, explore other, areas besides Africa. And I think it just bring a nice blend all together. But I can't really think of a name right now, but soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. No one can steal it, so it's good you didn't say it. But yeah, if you can describe Real Kasa, right, in one word, and this season, and just the show overall, the feel of it. I know you got a chance actually behind the scenes to really watch for the first time, because Roman's usually not in here. Roman's, he's a busy guy, right? But if you could really, what would you describe this season, this show, the feel of it in one word?
Honestly, I would just have to say important.
Important. Wow.
A lot of very important topics being talked about, things that people need to hear, very human topics.
Wow. Okay. One word?
I was going to steal his answer, but I think one word to describe the show, I'll say, has to be the brilliance, because, since focused on like the show's focused on like African issues, but the community, I think like it's bringing like more awareness to Africa, letting people know like like Africa's not just in the shadows, but we're also here too.
Yeah.
So I think like brilliance, like bringing like African brilliance, like
Brilliance
culture.
too.
Yeah.
Wow. So we have important and we have brilliance.
Yes.
Wow. That truly means a lot to me, and I respect you both, right? I also want to give recognition to the team members that couldn't make it, but will be featured, and you guys will get to see very, very soon behind the scenes when we're getting ready for season 2 as well. Our show manager, Juliette Amois, which she was just the backbone of operations, right? The go-to for structure, flow, and strategy on a weekly basis, planning the show. And Deborah Bonsu. Deborah Bonsu being the executive assistant and previously the research assistant, basically giving us all these topics as well, helping with the research towards these topics and these important topics to really articulate everything that I wanted to say, articulate everything that I wanted to deliver to the viewers. So amazing work, Juliette Amois and Deborah Bonsu, as well as Kingsley Osei Abra, which is the main man behind all the pictures, all the shoot, the main Real Kasa shoot. He's also part of the pictures in real time when we're in the studio. But for the Real Kasa official image, Kingsley Osei Abra is behind that, and he has done such a fantastic job. It is a blessing to have a community and a crew such as the Kasa Crew. Also, amazing work to also the editor behind this screen. She is truly fantastic, undescribable. I don't have the words for it, but her editing skills are amazing. Justine has been remarkable throughout this season, and really just being able to capture everything that I am trying to put out, everything that I'm trying to say. And I just want to also give her beautiful, beautiful flowers. All the men and women on this crew have been incredible. So kudos to each and every single one of you, and thank you. And that's a wrap on this special segment, Kasa Family. Massive shout out to Juliette, Roman, Michael, Debbie, and Justine, and Kingsley. You guys are the heartbeat of this show, and none of this would be possible without you. God bless you. To every viewer, listener, and supporter who's tuned in to us this season, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, speaking up, and standing strong with us in truth. Season 1 was just the beginning. More heat, more insight, and more realness coming your way in Season 2. God bless you all, and as always, be blessed, be vigilant, and stay tuned for the next season of The Real Kasa Show. Hey viewers, if you're looking for some amazing West African cuisines in New Jersey, visit Legit African Touch at 52 Ferry Street, South River, New Jersey. Mama's Secret, only continental dishes, preferably Ghanaian or Nigerian dishes, all in Legit African Touch. Get a feel of the African touch now. What up, viewers of The Real Kasa Show? Make sure to follow The Real Kasa Show on X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok as well.
The Real Kasa Show.